Person 69, so, or 70, 69 and a half. So I didn't mark you off, so I read you twice, so I'm sure there's a reason why. So this is how it starts when you enter onto the Rainbow Road. You turn into this, it's definitely like planetary, and I see this golden orb, and then there's this like, almost like, I see it being Saturn later, but it's like this golden circle around you, and it's almost like this like star exploding, or what you would see, some kind of picture from the cosmos. And so as you land onto the Rainbow Road, then you're like this golden orb, and there's this golden ring of light around you. And so I'm getting Saturn, but I'm getting pulled to ring, and then I start to get like wedding. I don't know how it came up, but I start feeling like this, almost like significant other, because I'm trying to question, what's the significance of ring? Why am I being pushed to ring, but not in a different way? And so, ring can mean big commitment, like big, basically commitment is the best word. Like, so moving into like a commitment type position, whether it's with a person or a, employer or a new job or something like that. But there's this like big commitment that's coming up, right? So, or maybe even happened. And so from here, I see your energy then. I see you almost as if like you take on this groom responsibility, but you have this bouquet in your hands, and I see you doing this like trust fall. So you have the bouquet at your chest, and you like turn around and you like fall into all these people's arms behind you, and it's like you're doing this trust fall, and you do it over and over. And so now I'm connecting like this big commitment or step into commitment, and then trust fall. So trust, and so from here, then I see your energy finally like after you fall, get caught and fall, like they let you down and you're on all fours, and I see you almost like crawling through what looks like a graveyard, and I see you kind of coming out of this like tombstone, and you're moving towards the crypt keeper, death, and so death to me, I've actually had encounters, and however much you want to believe in this stuff, I've had initiations and whatever, where death has done different initiations and openings for me with certain things, but so it's never a bad thing, but it always represents some kind of initiation or change, or and I was getting the words, the like till death do us part. So I don't know if there's some big committal thing that you're having to put a lot of trust and faith into, and it's almost like you feel like this is a contract to the end type thing, like if you do this or move forward with this, that it's gonna kind of lock you in for a good amount of time, because then I saw you kind of crawling out of this graveyard through the tombstone, and you like moving through death. It's almost like you were wanting to break the contract, or not sure if you wanted to do the like till death do us part type of a thing. So I say you kind of bypass death and what his offering was, and that's the thing. When death shows up, it's usually like a it's like a option to it's like another contract, almost like when I've worked with death, he's done things to open me up into new levels of awareness, but it's so that's interesting that you would kind of move through that. So I don't know if there's this opportunity with this commitment that's being presented to you, but you're not too sure if this is the avenue you want to go down. But death being there, it might be a new opportunity, and the fact that you're not maybe ready to make this commitment, and you're moving through that like contract of till death do us part. So I see you moving through, and then as you move through, then you start to fall through the portal, which is taking us to the next part of this energy. And as you fall through, you grab onto this glider. It's like one of those triangular gliders that have that bar that people like jump off mountains with. So I see you on this glider, and you're still in your tuxedo, and you've got these now like Amelia Earhart type like old school goggles on, and so I see you like, so I get the words like soaring and adventure, and I get that you're like searching and seeking, but it's all like adventure, and you're like looking for you're looking for something. It's like you're soaring, and again, since we're up in the air and we're flying, it's perspective as well. And so you're kind of like searching for this, searching for something is what I'm getting. And you're looking for this place to land, but you never land, right? You don't feel comfortable enough to land, or there's nothing enticing enough to get you to land. Nothing's calling to you. You're just liking this perspective and this adventure of soaring and kind of being free, and you're trying to decide, but nothing's really engaging you, I guess, down in the material world, right? So then finally you land and we go to your Akashic records, and as you move through the Akashic records, you move in and it's all filled with grass, and I get that Honey, I Shrunk the Kids feeling. So that movie where the husband shrinks the kids and now they're like battling in the front yard or whatever it is, and it's like this huge adventure. And so I'm getting like I'm getting the sensations of the big ants, and again here I'm getting the perspective. That word perspective starts to come in, where, if you were to change your perspective, and maybe we're going all the way back to whatever this commitment thing is, but if you were to change your perspective on this situation that's surrounding you, really they're just in the front grass and the front yard of the house, in that grass and the lawn, and it's only a few yards wide or whatever, but to them it's this grand adventure. These kids are having to battle ants and centipedes and whatever else, mudslides, and it's like this crazy adventure that brings them all together, but truthfully they're just in the grass of the front yard. And so there's this perspective switch, and I'm getting like grass is always greener, and so I'm getting that maybe there's a component of this that you're not seeing, or you're expecting that there's going to be some grand adventure, or maybe you should be wooed by this, excitement. And so back to the glider, this flying, this being free, this adventure, but you're not seeing that like the front yard could really be that adventure you're searching for, but because you're hoping for or envisioning something so grand, you're not being able to see that your adventure is in the front yard, right? That the front yard is the adventure, that life, that we're living is the adventure. And so I'm getting this whole change the perspective. So I call down your higher self and I ask your higher self what's for the greatest good for this person to know at this moment in time. And the higher self basically reiterates that to me and says that, you need to change your perspective, and that you're almost, they use something that kind of sounded negative, or not negative, but something that a higher self I would question, and I did question, because they, higher self usually come through in like the highest and most loving words, right? Like all positivity. And they said something like he's not seeing clearly, or like he needs to change how he's viewing this, or they came through very kind of like direct and with a directive, almost like to like change how you're doing this, that like almost like wake up, and so back all the way, tracking back to the very beginning. So, there's some commitment thing, and it requires trust. But, when you do that trust fall, then you're kind of greeted by the Grim Reaper, death. And it's like, till death do us part. Do I really want to make this commitment? Is this really what's best for me? And you're like, nope, I'm going to pass through this commitment that death is offering, and I'm going to soar through and find my own adventure. And yet here you are soaring through the clouds, and you can't find anything that really satisfies you. There's no place to land. So we get into the Akashic records, which is representative of the true energy in the situation here, and I see that there's this grand adventure, but it's it's all about perspective. Like you are living this grand adventure, but you just have to change your view, and then maybe all these things that are aligning for you and taking it for granted. It is maybe kind of the concept that was being conveyed through the higher self. Like, don't take this opportunity for granted, maybe, like that this adventure is here, and it's just you have to engage with this perspective in a different way, and know that this is the adventure, but you're just not seeing it clearly, is maybe what I was understanding. So with light and love, and so interesting. So I'm going to go listen to what I recorded a few days ago for you and see if this has any bearing on what that is, or if maybe your energy just needed a little tune up. All right, with light and love.